Hi, Vitamin G here. Welcome to the second video of Season 10 of the ISRL GR3 Championship. There's my Lamborghini, there's the beast. Getting more and more used to driving it now that I've been using it for a couple of weeks. And yeah, one of the main reasons I chose the Lambo, other than the challenge of driving it, was I wanted something that gave me the chance of maybe winning the sprint race. I mean, I love the Pug. I would never have driven it as much if I didn't, but I always struggle with it in the sprint. So with the Lambo, at the moment anyway, I feel like I've got a car that's the opposite. So on to qualifying, and I forgot to record my footage, so there's nothing to see there. I managed to do a 1:53.799, which put me in second position. A little bit disappointed in that lap. The Lambo's well capable of more than that, and I'd done 53.4s and 53.5s in practice, but still second on the grid, so not the worst place to start the race from. So we've got Raiden in pole, me in second, Hat Maris in third, Wizard in fourth, Athenine in fifth, and Foxy taking pole for the AM class there in sixth on the grid. Great quali by Foxy. So we get away and I get a decent start. Raiden's also got a good start, and Hat Maris also, I think, actually got the best start of all, and he's slightly on my outside. And as we go round the first bend, Hat's done a great run around the outside there and actually has jumped up into second, and I'm down to third. And behind me you can see Foxy has also had an awesome start in that Corvette there, and he's up into fourth, with Wizard just behind him fifth. So not really what I wanted. Raiden is really quick here. Well, he's really quick at most tracks, and my plan was similar to the first round, was to try and stay in his slipstream at the start, and then hopefully to use the straight line speed and power of the Lambo later on in the race to take the win. But that's gone out the window now, so I need to try and fight back and get past Hat to stop Raiden from getting too far away. But I had done a fair bit of practice here at the Nurburgring, so I knew I had some good pace. So I just went about now just trying to go back the first lap and get as close up to Hat as possible, try and make the move as soon as possible. You see I get a lovely run there through the Schumacher S, well in the suck zone, just three tenths behind. Take this left-hander really well, a bend that I find quite tricky in the Lambo, and now to the CV camera you see I'm right on Hat, and I get a lovely run out of that bend with the slipstream and then the power of the Lambo. I'm able to pull out alongside this little kink in the back straight. Now we come up to the final chicane, which is quite sketchy in MR cars, but go through there nicely, and that's the positions. That's now we're up into second, and I think just outside the slipstream at this point, only a little bit. I think I'm 1.6 seconds behind, and slipstream starts about 1.4. Yeah, there you can see from my onboard. So yeah, just over 1.6 seconds. But you can see I'm closing in with the power of the Lambo down the straight. So this lap is critical now. If I let Raiden get away, then unless he makes a mistake, there is no chance of me really catching him. Well, that was my thoughts. So I just set about getting a nice tide of that. So round that second bend there, braking in, try and keep this tight, follow the curve round, and then you want to get a nice swing through this bend. I take the Lambo up a gear there just to dull the power out of that bend, because it always seems really slippery, that bend. And then brake at the edge of that road, that little service road, take a nice apex, really do that well there, though then a little bit, could have got more to the left hand side before that right hander. But still, I'm actually closing in, and I actually gained a couple of tenths through that first sector. So now I'm pretty much in the suck zone. Nicely round this right hander and up to the Schumacher S for the second time. Again, I take this pretty well. Little slight lift on the throttle, and again just kept me right on the cusp of the slipstream. In fact, I'm in it now. We're definitely in it at 1.3, but then I drop back out again. And I just set up this right hand. I'm a bit slow into that one. I like to try and just set it up for the exit, and again you see I get a good run. And I'm definitely in the slipstream, and the delta is coming down. And all in all, this has been a pretty good second lap by me. So now into the final chicane, taking a fair amount of curb, as much as I dare in this MR car. And again you see I'm still in the slipstream, just on the cusp behind Raiden, so I've definitely made gains in this lap. At the start it was 1.6 seconds, and now we're down to just under 1.4. So it's not much, but it's enough to get me there. And there we go, the 153.84, which is only marginally slower than my actual quali time. So you can see in those quali settings, I didn't really get everything out of the Lambo. And then a blatant attempt by Raiden to take me out of the cone there. We'll be having words before the next round, mate. Anyway, moving on. I'm basically back to where I was at the beginning of the last lap, so I've managed to lose the time I gained in that first sector, obviously partly due to Raiden trying to kill me with the cone, and now I'm back just outside the slipstream, so I've got it all to do again. So I'm taking it nicely through, and I've managed to pull a 10th back. I seem to be quite good around that left-right sequence there. Compared to Raiden, he'd pull a couple of attempts in the first sector, but then I'd pull a little bit back. And then depending on how, we were quite even through this little sector. He seems to be better from the middle of the bend, and then I pulled it back on exit. A little bit of a moment for me there in the Schumacher S. It's a little bit too much curve. I mean, ideally in this Lambo for safety you don't want to take any curve, but you can take a bit if you're good with steering angle. And then unfortunately Raiden was a little wide into the left-hander which got him on the curve, and well, unfortunately for him, and he's made a little mistake, and that has lit me right into the slipstream. You can see the Lambo also getting sucked along, so with that bad exit and the courtesy of slipstream, I'm right on his tail now. I think I'm about 6 tenths behind, maybe 7 after the exit of that final chicane. So that's got me right in the hunt now. Where I was before, being on the cusp of the slipstream, it was very risky. I was always going to be going in and out of it with the relative performance of the cars. But now that, with that mistake, I'm only 6 tenths behind. So this is where it is really, really difficult for the car in front to get rid of you. If you're fairly evenly paced, or even if the guy behind, you know, maybe half a second slower, with the ridiculous strength of the slipstream, unless the guy behind makes a mistake, it is really hard for you to shake them off. And with this lap and 2 more to go, I'm in a good position to put some pressure on. Just switching to the TV camera. Really love this track, the way that it flows. It is quite tricky, but one has taken me a while to get some pace up, and I definitely think I've got improvements in the first sector that I can still make. Well, probably all round the lap, but particularly in the first sector. But yeah, it's a good one. I find it a challenge, but a satisfying challenge. So you see there, very much in the suck, took the Schumacher S lovely there, and now we're just honing in on the back of Raiden and the Ferrari. A little bit deep into that bend with the slipstream, I didn't take account for the slipstream, and then a bit of a Lambo moment. Fortunately, I hold it and actually don't get too bad a run out of the bend with that, so I'm still well in the suck zone, only 8 tenths behind. Coming through the final chicane quite nicely there, taking a fair amount of curb. Now into the final bend, and to start the 5th lap, so only 2 laps to go. And again, you can see I'm just 6 tenths behind, and again getting nicely sucked along in the slipstream. Careful on braking, because with the extra speed I need to brake a touch earlier, but I've done that quite well. Not quite as well as Raiden though, who again pulls a little bit away from me out of the first bend, and then again, see on the exit of the 2nd bend, I don't quite get the line right there. Something I need to work on. And then I have a little bit of a moment, is you don't really see it there because I catch it pretty quickly, but a bit of an acceleration moment in 2nd gear. But I quickly change up to 3rd and dull the power. And now just looking back from Raiden's car, you can see my Lambo well in his mirrors, well in sight. And just looking to put the pressure on now. So I brake pretty deep into this bend, but managed to control it on the brakes, and now I think I'm actually sort of 3-4 tenths behind, and now coming up through the coming up to the Schumacher S, and I've got a nice run here. Again, slight lift on the throttle, but an excellent run through, and now really this is as close as I've been all race other than at the start. Take it nicely through there. And again, you see I'm a little bit more cautious than Raiden through the first part of the bend, but then I did a really nice run, almost run out into the gravel, and was as wide as you dare. And now again getting pulled up right onto the rear bumper with the slipstream and the power of the Lambo, and actually 2 tenths behind now. And both of us taking a fair amount of curve there, and Raiden a little bit too much. The Ferrari got a little bit unsettled. Again, that closes me up to him even more, and now onto the start finish rate. Now this is the closest I've been, and the Lambo does have a straight line speed advantage, so as you can see with the slipstream I am getting pulled along nicely. Now I didn't really fancy the inside, there wasn't much room there, and also in practice I tried moves up the inside with the Lambo, and I a couple of times I'd spun it, such as the steepness and the acuteness of that first bend, so I try around the outside, misjudge it, as you saw there, a little bit of contact, which drops me back to 6 tenths behind, but yeah, it's okay, I'm still well there. A little bit of a moment from Raiden again with the Ferrari shaking its rear, and that's got me even closer. And now through the section I particularly like. Again, I'm a bit narrow going into that right-hander, but I'm still well in the suck zone, so it doesn't really cost me much. And yeah, right on Raiden's tail coming into this hairpin, which again we take nicely, and we get a good run up through the Schumacher S. A lot trickier going through here with slipstream, but now I've done it for a few laps, I got used to it, so I took that really nicely. And then looking to brake as late as I dare, and we're both actually a little bit late there. Raiden a little bit later than I was, and which compromises his run out of this bend, and I get an excellent run through there. And as you can see, I've got the running up the back straight. He's covering the inside, so he forces me to the outside, so I keep the car quite close to the middle of the track, so his entry is a bit acute to the final bend, and as you can see I just about make it work round the outside. Fair play to Raiden for giving me space there. You see it was very, very close, but there was no contact, so I'd say that was a fair move. And he tries to get a run on me up to the line, but there's just not enough time there, and so yeah, I take the win. Was really pleased with that. Got a little bit lucky with the mistake by Raiden on lap 3 that really got me into the slipstream, but I still had to make it work at the end there, and yeah, really pleased, and that's my first win in the Lambo.